Hey guys, welcome back to a community for all of us. This is episode 4, and the topic tonight that we'll be dealing with is toys and tariffs. I have two guests that's going to be with me. I just lost one of them. Give me 1 second, and let me pull up my good friend Harold. How you doing, my man? You
Hey
doing good?
man, greetings and salutations. Doing all right, man. Hope you are.
I am, and let me get my other co-host here. Where is she? Let's see here. And she's pulling up at the moment, but that's my beautiful wife, art teacher for life, Nikki. So tonight we're going to be talking about these wonderful tariffs and um and the comic book community don't have to worry about the tariffs. Cause printing and graphic novels and comic book printing, that will not be affected at all. So I think she might be. Are you having some difficulties? Give me 1 second.
Mhm.
All right, so we're going to have her back out for a second. So she's in another room. So yeah, always things that happen. There she is. Hello. Yeah, you have to take your phone off of Wi-Fi since we're both using this same connection, and that's cause we've had some very severe thunderstorms where we live. I was wondering whether or
Y'all
not we
too.
would be able to do. What's that? You too?
Y'all too. Yeah.
Yeah, I was worried we were going to be able to do the show tonight because the weather has been so strong. So, hello, art teacher. How are you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing good. It's been a long time no see. It looks like you're in a far, far other world where there's no toys around your head.
Nope, just art.
There's Noah's Ark, one of my favorite stories in the Bible. So, tonight we're going to be talking about the tariffs. Now, I don't know. Are y'all familiar with the tariffs and what's going on with the tariff war between America and China?
Bits and pieces, yeah.
Now, I don't want to get too political tonight. I just kind of want to stay topic. I don't. One thing I definitely want to emphasize is that we don't care who you voted for, didn't vote for, who you support, who you don't support. This is strictly about dealing with how is this going to affect toys. And not only is how this going to affect toys, but how does this affect our bottom dollar as collectors? So as we're going in tonight, me and Nikki, we talk to each other all the time. We've already kind of talked about this. This is one of the reasons why she was wanting us to do this tonight, since it was relatively on everybody's mind. But what do you think, Harold, about what's going on in the tariffs and the stuff with China right now? Would this affect you as a collector or not?
Well, right now it hasn't hit my wallet yet because I've had to put my new collecting on hold considering
Okay.
I but uh but yeah, I'm pretty sure that later on it will start affecting, and mostly what I collect is like a lot of what I collect is vintage anyway, so
Yeah. So you're not getting a lot of modern day toys,
right,
correct?
right.
So
Except for maybe like the Star Wars Galaxy's Edge and all that.
okay. Um and so that really is not going to affect you in the long run, since you're not a modern day collector, per se. But what about you, oh art teacher for life? As I'm pulling something up while you're talking. Go ahead.
I don't have to worry about it. My husband takes care of that. I say, "Oh, this is pretty. Will you get it for me?" It's okay.
Oh my gosh. And she just got a new transformer today, which she's very excited about.
It's
I'm
huge.
gonna
It's like this big. We did a review and it's on the channel, so go look at it.
yes.
The
Um
magmatron, I
Magnetron.
believe.
Mhm.
yes, got her Magmatron. Bob's selling it for a good price.
I thought it was
Mm.
bigger than I thought it was gonna be. I was really excited about it.
Yeah, he's literally a three dinosaurs that merge into one big man robot, but then they all merge into a third uh part, which is a beast. All the three beasts merge together into a big monster. So that right
It's a
there,
triple changer.
yeah, triple changer. So for me, I'm not too worried. I see right here, I wanted to pull this up. This is an article that's coming out right now dealing with the tariffs, and I'm going to share tonight with what I got from Big Bad Toy Store. They actually sent me something about talking about the tariffs, which I'm going to be able to share tonight. But steep tariffs hike on Chinese imports went into effect Wednesday. China retaliated, announcing its own tariff on goods to the U.S., which, in all honesty, is like them throwing a small pebble into a big ocean. We don't export enough to it actually to matter going into China. So them putting that big a tariff on stuff is like it's all it's going to end up doing is hurting their people before we as Americans feel this. But they go on with a tariff to President Trump's was imposed a total tariff rate is 125. As of right now, it just went up to 149% on imports. Now, this will affect people that have to get the next iPhone. This will affect, dealing with. They did say that they weren't going to allow any more mineral deposits. Now we kind of understand why it was so important for us to have Ukraine to sign a deal with us to have those, the deal to get those earth minerals. So China did say they're going to put a stop on it. On top of this, when I started really going into the practices and what was happening, it's really alarming what uh, how much China imports to the United States is 90%. And the one thing that stood out to me as I'm pulling it up too, um, other countries don't have as much imports that come to them um, like we do with China. So for us to have imports coming in, um, so that it's really hurting them because their manufacturing is what happened in the 80s and 90s here in the United States. All those things kind of just are being put on hold. What do y'all think so far, like with iPhones and earth minerals and stuff like that? Do you think that's going to be a big problem per se?
Mm,
And I'm
kind
sorry,
of
I
hard to say in a way.
mean, knowing Trump, he's probably already looking into. I mean, obviously he wanted these rare earth minerals from Ukraine, but he's already probably looking into. He doesn't like to tell people what he's doing until it's like completed almost. So
Mm.
he's probably looking into that. So we can start manufacturing those things here. Um, I mean, the whole goal of the tariffs was really to bring manufacturing jobs back to the United States because
Mm-hmm.
Detroit was huge steel producer. They were known for producing cars forever. Now it's a wasteland. I
Yes.
know that there is a county here in North Carolina that used to have several manufacturing places, and
Mm.
their last one left in the 80s. And since then, there was no big manufacturing. And I'm not even talking about the one I'm living in. I'm talking about there's another one that I know of. And so it became deserted. People
Yeah.
just didn't have jobs. And so, honestly, he's trying to get that back into America. And these tariffs are there to encourage those manufacturing to come back here. Because honestly, people need
I mean,
jobs. People want to
yeah.
work if there's available work, you know.
And I want to bring it back into the toys. Like Hasbro has come out and said that they're delaying their headquarters move due to the tariffs. The other thing that surprised me was dealing with um, Hasbro is that they actually pay um, their wages an hour is 94 cents an hour to their employees working working for them, and I was kind of like shocked by that because they work in these manufacturing and a lot of people the hours go nonstop. um they're still in Rhode Island, right? I believe so. So Hasbro is kind of saying, hey, we're going to hold off on this because of the tariffs. And that's because Hasbro doesn't have any manufacturers in the US. They have them in Vietnam. Now,
Mm.
Vietnam is apparently in talks with the US about the tariffs. So hopefully this won't affect Hasbro, but and the toy lines going up in prices. But I did get something from Big Bad Toy Story, and I want to grab that real quick. On what they said. Give me because I want to make sure because I got this directly from them. Um, let's see here. I always um my phone shut down and I had to bring it back up. But right now, toys right now are staying at a price, and Big Bad Toy Store said though that they are going to uh because of the tariffs. I'm trying to pull it up. I'm so sorry. Big Bad Toy Story. Where's my thing that you sent me? Uh, all right. So things about the upcoming things dealing with the tariffs. This is coming from Big Bad Toy Store. Big Bad Toy Store wants to let everyone know due to the Vietnam is facing a 40% tariff, which means that it's going from them being a company that dealt with zero tariffs at all. Now they're being affected with third party and with Hasbro, McFarlane Toys, the DC Multiverse, Monkey Fiction, and now with the stuff coming out of China, it's being raised to 125. We are letting customers know that if they have any pre-orders that are open or looking to have pre-orders in the future, that the costs that they're told may be subject to change. So there is a price or something that they have that is on a pre-order, like you can pre-order from them. It is subject to change that you can say, hey, I'm going to get this figure for $25. But because they're now dealing with the tariffs and stuff coming in there, um, you're now looking at the fact that they're saying that they may have to raise theirs to 10 to 20% hike on the figure if you have something that's pre-ordered. That's how they're offsetting their costs right now because it's a lot of money for them to have these things come in, and then they had to pay this import tax. Um, And so that's how they're going to offset it, and said that this will be what it begins in from April on. So anything that was pre-ordered before April, they said that they're going to honor those, that they're going to lock those prices in. But anything that's pre-ordered in the month of April and going forward, the prices are subject to change as the economic unsettle within the world markets. A company that we didn't deal with tariffs are now having to actually deal with them, has put into a perspective of how are we as a company going to be able to share um, this burden, and I can understand that to a degree if that's the case. But Mattel and Hasbro is saying that, well, we're feeling the effects now. Apparently, a lot of people, especially with Transformers, a lot of people said that they were not getting certain figures in their area, and no one knows why. Like Nikki and I had pre-ordered one of the Age of the Proms, and I can't remember his name at the moment. My brain's got a mind fog, but it's the one that's taking the fire. Amazon canceled our order with no explanation, and
Or I don't. They may have sent an email, but I don't remember that. So it was just we went and it was not there.
Yeah, it was 1 second it was in the lineup of what was coming out, and they shipped out 2 of the figures to us from Amazon, but he was not, and the order was canceled for some reason. And so then with that, I had it also pre-ordered at Big Bad Toy Store. Now they have not filled the order yet, but a lot of people are saying that it's hard to come across a Waspinator, some of the Aereo bots, some of the Agent Prime figures are not being released. One thing I did notice that Super 7 did, that Nikki had ordered 3 GI Joes for me earlier this week from that was pre-order, and Super 7 shipped those things out. I got them yesterday. 3 of the figures. Now the box was all beat up, but Super 7, and that didn't go up in price. But then I saw other places where those orders had not been filled yet. Like Big Bad Toy Store hasn't had those in stock. They're still up for pre-order. If if toys go up, what would be a cutoff, Harold? Let's say if you were buying toys right now, what would be the big cutoff? What would make it where it would be like, okay, this is too rich for my blood.
Well, there's a lot of factors in that. It's, you know, as far as, am I going to be able to afford food this month? Am I going to be able to afford, gas for our car this month? As long as I can do all those things, and make sure we have what we need first and foremost, then usually our philosophy is everything will fall into place.
That's and you hit the nail on the head when you said being able to buy food and having food. That's going to be the end all be all. It's plastic. It's plastic crack. I mean, it's not like it's necessary to have to get um, every figure that comes out immediately. Um, Nikki and I have always had a policy that, and matter of fact, I'll let you share, Nikki. Go ahead before I pull this up. What's our policy?
Well, we make sure we can pay all the bills. So when my check comes in, I separate it out, and then we look at it and say, especially with Transformers, do we have this figure already? Essentially, if we do, we don't purchase it, But if it's one that we haven't seen before, it hasn't come out before, then we try to okay, can we purchase that right now? If not, then we just don't. It makes us happy. We like seeing the new figures and how they're created and the design that goes into them. So we just make sure that we pay all our bills first, and then after that, I put a little bit in savings. And if there's money to be had, then we buy a little bit more here and there. Depends on the month.
Yeah, and Call Me Mo says terrible distribution plans. Can't find much in my stores, but he was able to find Air Raid. Okay, because we're getting out tomorrow. Because we're kind of said to each other, we're going to look and see what's in the stores, and if there's a figure that we didn't was canceled, then we're going to go ahead and pick it up tomorrow. But that's cool that there's stuff new on the shelves. That's what I was worried about, is that what's that going to show with the on the shelves? Because like you can see here in this article, it says, 145% tariffs on Chinese goods could raise the price of toys. More than 3/4 of toys sold in the U.S. are made in China. Very true. Saying that, hey, you might want to buy your Christmas presents now. I mean, I get it. I get that, there is a slight little panic that people are having right now. But at the same time, I'm hoping people are realizing that, hey, if I might not need that figure right now. I mean, that's what it did for me. Hey, there's Leo. That's what it did for me and Nikki, is that, we're now getting to Warhammer. And I was looking at Warhammer this month, and I was looking at the Transformers that were coming out. And Nikki knows that the dream of mine has always been for Hasbro to make all 13 of the proms. I've always wanted all the proms to have a representation of the toys, and that was um something that I've never had. I've never have had bits and pieces here and there, Vector Prime, Alpha Trion, stuff like that, Prime, but I wanted the primes themselves. And Sentinel Prime doesn't count, but I've always wanted 13 primes, and they're finally doing it. And Hasbro did come out and say that they're only having 3/4 of Transformers this time. So where you typically would have 4 quarters, where they would run, part one, part two, part three, part four, and it would wind up in the final fourth quarter, you would have another box of Transformers line coming out. Hasbro said, no, we're only going to do 3. So that made me look and go, okay, that means, is Hasbro recognizing that the tariffs are happening? And if so, if the tariffs are happening, does that mean, that are they planning and saying, okay, well, we're not going to sit with 4/4 of Transformers. We're only going to do 3 because we have no idea what it's going to look like in the future. An idea that Nikki and I threw around was, what about, how would you as a collector feel if all Transformers, I know there are people out there about scale, and scale matters, but would you feel like, hey, Master Bar, would you feel like, or feel all right if all the toys went to, like, in Transformers case, the smaller figures are usually called the deluxe size, and they usually stay around $20-$25 price mark. Um, how would you feel about toys going smaller? What do you think, our teacher?
I like the smaller ones. You're still getting the same figures. They're not huge. The only thing, like, as an adult, I like them smaller. I can still manipulate it. For kids, they don't need to be too tiny. It depends on their age. You want them to be larger so they can have. They're still using. They're getting used to their motor control and fine motor control, and so that's not necessarily there. So for the adult collector, I don't mind if mine are like 6 inches tall, um, because there's more space on my counter for more
Yeah.
toys that way. So it doesn't bother me now. A lot of these toys, Hasbro, they're still in America, so they're not going to get a tariff. If they don't move their headquarters, then they shouldn't increase their prices. But
it will, because it's coming from Vietnam, and it's coming because their manufacturers are over in Vietnam and China. So
okay,
that's going to raise the prices because they're going to have to pay those tariffs somehow to get
mm-hmm.
their product essentially out of hock.
So what's Vietnam at? Like 25%, or
46
is
right
there
now.
26? When I looked at
46.
Lego, 46. Denmark at the moment, from the last thing, because that's where the main Lego hub is. They look like they're only going to be like 25 at the moment.
Yeah.
At first, Trump said that, if you don't sell me Greenland or you don't
I
let me
know.
govern Greenland, I want to make it bigger. But he's only got it at 25% right now.
Yeah.
And I know Legos are kind of expensive anyway, but that's still not going to make them go up that much.
Right. And might not at all. They might, some companies may end up eating some of the cost if they stay at 10 to 25%. So, Harold, as a collector, would the size of a figure matter? Would you, if you were going to buy new figures and you're going to the store today, would a figure the size of the old Star Wars, Kenner Star Wars
Hmm.
size, would you still be interested in that side, or would you want something that's going to be 6 feet or bigger? Or 6 inches or bigger, excuse me. God help,
6 feet,
6 feet,
we
man.
ain't got room for that.
No.
I wish I had room for a Star Wars droid that was 6 feet or bigger.
6 feet, wow.
Wow. I mean, yeah.
Taller
Um,
than me.
hey, Reverend, come here.
But honestly, I mean, I don't know. Pay more for a smaller. I just don't know.
And I think, like, a lot of people are like what with you, Harold. They're kind of like, would I do that? Would that make sense for me? Um, Now, one thing that Star Wars did is they had the vintage line, which Nikki
Hmm.
does get. She gets the vintage line, which is the smaller ones instead of the 6 inch because of space. Now, we do buy from a third party, which is New Age, and I have not seen. Now, I will be honest. I went to go check to see if any of my orders have been shipped yet. None of my orders that I have ordered from Shozy Toys shipped. But Gundam that I ordered my Warhammer from, that's their sister company. That did ship, and I got it earlier this week. So I don't know what that's going to do, but I typically, when I order from them, I usually pay in full. I go ahead and we go ahead and work it in the budget, and we pay in full. And I don't know if maybe that's the reason why things have not been released yet or haven't been shipped yet, is because of the tariffs, because that is coming from the Asian markets. I don't know what that means for the prices of figures for them, if that means that they're going to go up. What would be too expensive for your blood for a figure? A brand new figure that came out, it's gonna come from, let's say, Hasbro or Mattel. How much if they typically a figure was $10, okay, when it before the tariffs, and the figures are $10. How much would be too much for that $10 figure? But you'd be like, no, I'm not going to pay this X amount of price if it goes up that high. What's the highest you're willing to go?
Uh, which one? You
Go
talking to
ahead,
both
Aaron. I'll
of
let
us?
you go first. Either one of y'all can get going. I was waiting to see who bit.
Oh,
So,
okay. Ah,
and you have the money. Let's say you have the money. You don't have to worry about the money. Let's say everything's taken care of. Everything's been paid. You have the money, but the figure used to cost $10, but now it
mhm.
costs And what is the number that would be too high?
If it used to cost 10, I would say 35 would be ridiculous.
Yes.
Okay, so
Agreed.
35 would be way okay. If it
Because,
used to
like,
be $10 and now
yeah,
it's
you used to could go to like Walmart and you could get a $10 transformer. And I've noticed it has gone up. And I remember going in, several years ago, and it was 5, 8, 10. I was still okay with 10. But if I went in the same store and all of a sudden it was 35, it'd be similar to like us going out to eat in the last 2 years. You remember also you got to eat and you can get a hamburger meal from wherever it was, Wendy's or Burger King or wherever it was, and it was $8, maybe $10, and now you go in and it's like $15 for the meal that you used to pay 8 for. Me and Derek have been finding alternate places to eat that can still keep their prices down, but that would be similar to me. 35 would be just ridiculous. I could see, and even 30 maybe would be ridiculous.
and like call me Mo points out that 3 1/4 Star Wars figures used to be 12, 13.
Mm-hmm.
Too much for me would probably be $20. But you would be more selective.
Yeah.
He's hit where I was wanting us to go. He actually hit it out of the park because this was the argument that Nikki and I had when it was coming out with the Siege line. The Siege line was coming out. I'm gonna have to move it big up. The Siege line was coming out, and Hasbro ended up was raising the prices. Transformers were on the shelf, 10, $15. The Combiner Wars and stuff like that. I was able to get almost the entire um run on that. And Nikki, was like, okay, the leader class goes is a bigger figure. You can only get one of those because that's going to roughly be $40 or $50 figure. And so I got the Power of the Primes, Optimus Prime because I love Optimus. But the argument that I kind of came at Nikki when the Siege line was coming out, I was like, but you don't understand. These figures are in scale, and they look like they just came right off the screen. They're the best that they've ever been. And so Nikki was like, okay, I'm gonna let you buy 5 figures. You have $100 max. Go with it and prove to me why I should be invested in this big of a price hike because it was a huge price hike. We went from $10, $15 to well, that was usually your warrior class or your deluxe class, which is your smaller figure. That automatically went up to $20 to $25. And the one that was a little bit bigger went to 35 to 40. And then the big one, like I got the Optimus Prime, went up to 60. And so Nikki was like, here's $100. You can buy as many as you want, what you want, but you got to buy them and prove to me why these are better than what previously came out. And when I did, then Nikki was like on board. She was like, okay, these are better quality. These are better figures. There's no hollowness. There's no plastic.
Plastic's better.
Yeah, and there's no clear
Not
plastic.
that crappy white plastic would turn yellow if it got hot at all.
That was there. Yeah, that's where we're going. And that was what Nikki was like, what she just said. And then Hasbro did what Nikki just said, where she said, then they started having the white that was turning yellow.
Like in a couple of months.
Yeah.
Whereas we would pull older. No, and we would pull out figures from that we had, at least 5, 10 years back, and they were still white.
And then Nikki was like,
nope.
You had me when Siege came out, but the stuff that's coming out now with Legacy, she's like, no, we're not putting our money, we're going to be selective on what we buy from Hasbro and Transformers. We're going to be very selective. And if it's a white figure, like she got me Shattered Glass Starscream. and it was a Hasbro exclusive. You had to wait. You had to buy it online. She did all the waiting. She did all the prep. Figure came in, and immediately the plastic turned yellow. After
Hmm.
one summer, the plastic turned yellow. I mean, and then some of the clear plastic was brittle, and that's when we went third party. That's when we went what Billy the Kid got us into, which was the Legacy line, which came out from New Age. And the figures are smaller, but the quality and the quantity, they were very well made and still
Yes.
are.
And there were a lot of issues with them, like you would try to bend an arm and it would pop out of socket
Oh,
on the other ones, but not for New Age. Like Derek could literally go through and transform the whole thing and it wouldn't break apart on him, you know? And it wouldn't feel like if he was trying to bend something that it was going to break, because you know there's parts when you're using a toy or manipulating it and you're like, I don't know if I want to bend it that way, even though it's supposed to.
right.
I feel like it's gonna pop.
And that's when she was like, I cannot invest in buying from Hasbro. And that was hard for me because I was a Hasbro purist. I I'm an artist and we have our own books and we have our own company. And I would be livid if I went to a comic show or I went and saw my characters. I mean, we had this happen years ago, about 20 years ago. We had this happen. We had a character I created, and it was a skeleton. And we already had books out. And I went to one of our local shows, and there was an artist there, and he had on his table our character,
Hmm.
but he had made it into his character.
Hmm.
And I was very polite as being the artist and being a professional, but I did inform him that if he didn't take it off the thing, that he wouldn't only get a letter of cease and desist, but there would be other legal matters that we would have gone to. So it was hard for me to go third party because that's not their product. That's not their characters. It's the reason why I will not put an Autobot. And anybody that does, I'm okay with it. Um, but for me personally, I don't. That's one of the reasons why. And I love that Shows the Toys gives me the Autobots logos if I want to put it on there. But I'm not going to put it on a third party toy because that's not a Hasbro figure. And so that was a hard thing for me to do. But now that the market has slightly changed, I do buy third party because Hasbro was costing me. I'd have a figure break, and I would want to do a review, and I'm going out and having to find another one, or I'm having to have Nikki order another one off of Amazon to have it come in now so I can do the review. That
Pretty
became
much they were getting, sorry,
no, go ahead.
it's like they were charging more, but putting out a more crappier product, and that's not good.
Mm. And a lot of the stuff, excuse me one second. Sorry, I got choked. And that was the thing too, is that they started using parts and stuff that they did get from China. And they were using crappier plastic that wasn't lasting. And as a collector, I'm not wanting my figures to break after one or two transformations. I want the playability to be there.
That kind of
And
defeats the purpose of the collecting when it breaks that soon. I mean,
yes, yeah, it does. And I noticed that their kids line was more durable than their collector's line. And then that became where I was like, wait a second, you know, and that's what Nikki and I talked about today is that Hasbro has a new kids line coming out called Cyber World, and one of her favorite characters is going to be in it, where he's going to have all the bells and whistles and the sounds and everything. And we were like, we're pretty much going to go that route with Hasbro because I'm going to be extremely selective on the Generations line because for me, as long as the price doesn't go up too high on third party, I'm going to put that money there and then still support Hasbro with the kids line. Um, what do you think that this is going to do for? Do you think that we'll see manufacturers coming into America, and if they do, would the cost of figures go cheaper, or would it be? Or do you think that we're pretty much just seeing a lot of bolstering, and yes, it's going to be hard right now, but nothing's going to change? What do you think, Harold?
Well, personally, I think they should bring a lot of it back to America and make it here. But that's just me. I mean,
Well, I agree. I agree. I think there needs to be a balance. Honestly, I
mm,
think we would be in this problem. Uh, a lot of companies and uh, they have to. They're looking to make as much money as they possibly can.
mm,
And I think what this is going to do, and this is my thoughts. My thoughts are they're going. I think what's going to happen is the companies are going to have to take another look and say, do I keep going down the course of going down? Do I keep, you know, like for Hasbro, is having, 6, 7 different uh toy lines? Is that feasible? Um,
yeah. Which COA is best for business?
yes. Um, you and I were talking about the Incredible Hulk. You remember us talking about the Incredible Hulk, Nikki?
Yes.
And and there's this new Incredible Hulk. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. Uh, let's see. Where is it? Y'all, so let's see here. Go here. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Go here. Look at me. I'm like a man with a plan. I'm pulling everything up, man. I'm like just moving. I'm moving, and hit that. And now we will. Now this figure looks awesome. Looks just marvelous. But I mean, you're going to get it where you can clap his hands, hold missiles, do a hand clap, but the whole chest cavity is soft plastic, which means that's not going to stand up the test of time.
Mm-mm.
And not only that, but when we bought a a legacy Incredible Hulk, I got Nikki's a big. What's your favorite Hulk, sweetheart?
World War Hulk. I
Oh,
think
okay.
they're calling him whatever they're calling him now, like Sakarian Hulk or something, because Sakara is this planet they ended up crashing
When they shoot
onto.
him in the face.
Yes, that was my favorite line. I read that whole series. So they're going back to that storyline. I don't know what else they're doing with it, but that's what this Hulk is supposed to be.
Well, the Hulk I got you was the World War Hulk, which was I was telling you,
It's got bells and whistles. It's nice.
and I got it for $25 when it came out. Now you take a look at the price of this Hulk here, and the other one is nice, but they're asking for $60. for this figure. And that has nothing to do with tariffs. That has nothing to do with tariffs. Sadly, America isn't suited for manufacturing anymore. Build a factory like that would take years plus the cost of American workers. Yes, I agree with what he's saying, but
Mhm.
it would. I mean, that was what people aren't realizing is that what happened to our manufacturing happened in the 80s, 90s, and the early 2000s. I don't think we would ever be able to get back to factories like what we once had. It would definitely take decades for that to happen.
True.
But there's always going to be the bottom dollar where, like I was saying earlier on, Hasbro's able to pay 94 cents an hour to the workers in Vietnam. They're not going to be able to do that here. But at least what's going to happen is that's why I have issues with this figure here. This has nothing to do with tariffs, and yet it is a $60 figure. The pictures look great. It looks great, but he is not worth $60. And this is a pre-order. And if you pre-order this guy with the tariffs, you're not guaranteed that that's going to be the price that you're going to end up paying for this figure when it finally gets released by Hasbro. This is the problem that's happened in toys. It has nothing to do with the tariffs. It has to do with the corporation greed. I mean, and as a collector, what bothers me or worries me the most is that we have walked away from the kids and kid toys. I mean, the reason why I'm buying GI Joe from Super 7, the 3 3/4 GI Joes, the reason why I'm buying those is because they match my GI Joes that I had as a kid. A matter of fact, those match perfectly. My Zartan that will change color in the sun, the new Zartan I got does the exact same thing. So for me, it's like, we're collectors because we had a passion as a child. I don't see that being something that needs to be there's a passion for a child. I mean, that to me is just unbelievable. I mean, let's take a look. See if we can find something else from. Let's just take a look at the Star Wars line right now. Um, Pull this up. All right, so I'm pulling up the vintage line right here. Um, this right here is a 3 3/4. This right here, this is a price I'm willing to pay for a 3 3/4. I really am. But this is pretty much my end all. Oh, there's a creature. I'm gonna probably have to get that for Nikki. Um, because this right here still keeps it within that $20 mark, and I'm not gonna worry about it going up. Uh, and the vehicles. I mean, I'm getting a figure and a vehicle for the same price that one Hulk is. Um, I just don't see as collectors, and we're going to go take a look at Transformers. As collectors, it's like I know people are stoked about this Optimus Prime, but we don't know how much that's going to go for. I mean, that's a $200 figure. I just, uh, kudos to the people that can. I'm not saying anything bad about that. I'm just saying that with the tariffs, you're getting to a price point where it's going to be too much. It's too much. Let's see here. Where's the um? Let me go to this here. Uh, this the right one? Yeah. Now these transformer prices. Now these are reasonable. Um, I can see sticking with this price point and that being okay in the long run. But anything more than this, it's going to be um, an easy goodbye. I mean, and I love Hasbro. Let's see. But with these prices here, those I can see are fine. I think if you're getting into the price point where it's $55 or more, I have to say that would be an easy pass for me. But I mean that's the thing that we've been running into with Hasbro and their pricing is like I don't see I don't see how that's going to help out the company of being able to protect ourselves during the tariffs. But I mean, you got these figures here, and I'm trying to see is this one's from. I can't tell. No, this isn't. This is from a. These are made to be special ones. I was going to try to spot. This is it. But like, I keep hitting the wrong button. Sorry, guys. Trying to find the ones that are McFarlane toys. Let's see. What if the figures go to where they don't have that many articulation and they go to like the older figures, like back in the day you didn't have a lot of articulation with figures. Would you
No,
be all
you
right with
would
that
look
collecting them?
I would. I mean, back then when we were kids, you just could move the arms and legs, and that was it. You didn't move the fingers and all that crap.
Exactly, you didn't. I would be okay with the 5 point articulation. I would be okay with it as long as the price was reasonable. But you take a look at Mattel, man. Mattel's like coming out with everything, and they got the Thundercats, and you're getting like a 5, 6 inch figure with all the different articulation. And right here, like that lino, $25. And let me show you everything that comes with that lino, which I was like, that's crazy. The lino, you can have it where he looks older, you can have it where he looks younger. He comes with a sword, he comes with his sword and the sheath, and then he has all these accessories that he comes with where you can make him where he looks like he did in their universe or this universe. I'm like, Mattel's like knocking it out of the park and keeping the price point down, and I don't see them going up higher than this. And this is where I'm kind of like, Mumra. I'm kind of like, why is Mattel able to keep the pricing down and do
Mm-hmm.
stuff like this, and Hasbro is giving us a $60 Incredible Hulk, and the tariffs haven't even hit yet. That's what bothers me. That's what worries me as a collector. Um,
Be free.
so Nikki, what would be the highest price that you would let me come to you and say, "Hey, I want to buy this toy line, but the price costs this amount." What would be too much? What would you be like, okay, there, we just can't
How,
do it. That's
how tall are these?
Those are 6 inches.
I really won't want to go over like 27. Because I would say 25, but you could probably talk me into 27. 30 feels like too much.
But like the 3 3/4 line, you let me grab these guys for around that
Yeah.
price there.
Yeah, they're rehashing an old toy that I don't think they're going to keep around for a while. And 20 I could still do because it's more like a revision of a classic.
Right.
And I like the reaction lines. So I could still do 20. Obviously, it's going to be selective, you know.
So typically, you would like for the individual figures not to be more than $30 a pop.
Yes, really.
A max number, whether it's a 3 3/4 to a 6-inch figure, you want the
Yes.
price not to exceed $30.
Yes. Yes.
Because we had this discussion about Transformers. Because prime example, I want to no pun intended. I came to her and I said, "Look, they're doing the Power of the Proms, and this line right here." And Nikki was like, "Okay, you could get the proms that you're wanting, but we're not going to get another Titans Return. Uh, you've already got one that's not this color, that's from the comic uh, series. You're not getting another one, but I'll let you get anything that's around $25. You're not going to get this $150 figure. We don't need another Grimlock, so we're not going to get that Grimlock. But any figure that you don't have that you would want," she was like, "Yes, you could do that." And this is the guy that we ordered that from Amazon, canceled our order without telling us why. So this was the guy right here. And that's pretty much the height of it, is that I think we're all in agreement that toys are something that we can enjoy and love. But like Harold and I and Nikki, we go to toy cons, and there's a lot of time we meet with our guys and our friends, and a lot of times toys are out of the boxes that's come out years later. Wouldn't you say sometimes you find them cheaper than what they are now, Harold?
Yeah, sometimes, yeah. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so I mean, if you're not able to get the figure now, there's a good chance in the future you go to a toy con, you're probably going to find that figure, and you'll probably find one that's out of the box that's going to be a lot cheaper than what it was when it originally came out. At the end of the day, these are toys. They're to be played with, they're to be enjoyed, and it don't matter what political aisle you're on. I think we have to go into a realization that there is going to be companies are going to raise the prices, and they're going to make us, the consumers, have to sit here and bite it and take it. But if you don't want to take it, you don't have to buy it. The one
Exactly.
thing that Nikki taught me, and I wish she was on the screen at the moment, but the one thing Nikki taught me was you
I'm still
don't.
here though.
Oh, you're okay. You taught me that I don't have to buy every figure or every comic book. And
No.
how did you do that? How did you convince me as a completist, as we're ending the show?
Decades.
Don't just give the bare essentials, but how did you, as looking at it from the outside, going, he doesn't need to have 13 prompts. That's Optimus
No.
Prompt.
Especially, I said, go back and look at the molds because it's the same mold. They may slap on a different carded part of it, or they may slap on a couple new accessories, but sometimes you look at the molds they're making with, and it's the same mold. They're just putting new graphics with it.
And so, she sat there and said, "Look, if you don't buy this figure and you can't find it later on, then we'll pay what we have to get it if you really wanted it." And that helped me. That helped me where I was like, okay, I don't have to buy every Hasbro Transformer that comes out. I don't have to buy every figure that comes out. And for me as a collector, I like this genre. I like this um, as a whole. And I think we can all agree that we love toys. But at the end of the day, you can't eat plastic.
Nope.
You just can't. I
You can,
mean,
but it messes up your system.
oh, yeah, I know. So,
I would not advise it.
no, 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 I wouldn't advise it at all. But no, it's to let you know that at the end of the day, if you see a price that's too much for you and you're looking at it and you're going, do I if I'm getting multiple, like for me, It was, you can get these 3 G.I. Joes right now, or you can get this one figure. I'm going to pretty much go with the 3 G.I. Joes. It's going to offset. It's going to be where, do I get one figure or do I get 3? And
Go
at
for
the
a
end
better
of the
deal.
day, be smart consumers. Just be smart about your money. And if you can't build army build, then just get the one. I mean, if you come to a point where you're looking at your collection and you're worried about the prices, then you're paying too much. Then I'm going to leave it at that. I think that if you're worried about the pricing of a figure, then you're paying too much. And the only way you're going to have them come down in the pricing is by not buying. Because they're going to, the tariffs are going to come back on us. Whether we want to admit it or not, it's going to come back on us as consumers. And we just have to be smart with our billfolds and say, I'm not willing to pay what you're asking. And then the companies will be like, wait a second, we're not selling anything. We've got to come down. And that's where I think it's going to go. Anybody got any last thoughts before we call it a night?
I think that the longer that these tariffs are in place, the more we're going to see that our economy is going to improve. There's always that lull in between, and like I, said at the very beginning, with he's trying to bring jobs back to America, especially manufacturing jobs. We used to be known for the manufacturing jobs. We made all kinds of things, and then we didn't.
Well, that's like, North Carolina. Us being here in North Carolina, uh, the thing that built our state was mostly textiles and tobacco.
Yeah.
Taxes went up on tobacco, and tobacco farmers had to get out of it. And textiles, they shipped all that overseas. So it's like,
So, yeah, us in the Carolinas, we understand what the people are going through in China right now. I mean, our hearts do bleed for y'all. It really does. Because in the Carolinas, especially North Carolina, when the textiles and everything, like Harold said, I had family members who lost everything, so, and bankruptcy and stuff like that. So our hearts do bleed for y'all, but at the same time, there has to be accountability. And I think that maybe that's what we'll see from this. I think the accountability as consumers with the product that we buy and the stuff that we don't buy. You may be surprised that you can actually do with a whole lot less than what you already have. And that's my food for thought. And that's my soapbox for tonight. Share where they can find you, Harold, and then Nikki, I want you to share where they can find you.
well, you guys can find me at youtube.com/user/vampire-cowboy1. You can also find me on TikTok at harold.brit.
Awesome. That's awesome. Where can they find you, art
I
teacher?
currently don't make videos right now. I used to, but I do have a YouTube channel, Art Teacher for Life. I use that a lot in many different places, and I also use my gamer tag, Rage Kitten. Sometimes Rage Kitten Nikki. So I play some Fortnite Legos, and I play sometimes just regular Fortnite with Derek, and then I have other random little games I like to play, and I also do genealogy. You can look me up on wikitree.com if you want to, and I can help you with some ancestry if you want to.
Where else can they find you?
I think that's it.
Really?
Yeah.
That's it.
I'm teasing.
That's
We
like
have a
nothing else.
website. We have a website that I've
Oh
been putting up comic strips.
we're getting rid of her. She has been put
You
in
asked
time.
about me for
She has been put in timeout. Timeout. She just got put in timeout. I cannot believe that she sat there and said that.
supposed to tell people about that. That's your line.
Go ahead.
Okay, we put a free comic strip up every Wednesday, and you can find us at bitterteamedia.com. I think we're going to be at Richard's Comics and Collectibles in Greenville, South Carolina on Free Comic Book Day, which is the first Saturday in May. I want to say it's like the 5th this year, like May 5th.
When he gets the book done, we'll be there.
We're still going to be there. He's still going to have us. He'll still let us come. He said, come. We said, okay.
And you can find us at bitterteamedia.com, and that will take you to everything that we do. But Nikki is in the editing process of our new book, which is dealing with Bigfoot.
It's tedious. It's tedious.
Yes. And hopefully we'll have, it'll be in publication by the time of Free Comic Day. If not, you can also find all our stuff on Amazon, and you can just type in Derek and Nikki Davis, and it'll pull everything that we've worked on up. And you can find us also on IMDb page, which you just put in Derek Davis, and you'll see all the projects.
Derek B. Davis.
There you go. Derek
B. Davis.
So that is it for tonight, guys. Thank y'all so much for being here. Thank y'all for keeping us. I'm trying to get my screen to work all of a sudden. I don't know how I made my screen so big. Nikki's going to show me what I did. Oh my God, I made it so big. All right, so that is it for the show.
On the bottom right-hand corner, hover. It'll say leave large screen. It has like little